Give us just a sec to get going on Coke and Pepsi. How you doing? Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Comic Shop Talk Live, brought to you by Black Cat Comics in Rock and Milpitas, your one-stop shop for all things superhero. Shop online at black-cat-comics.com. We're keeping you connected to the comic book community. I'm Mark.
I'm Francie.
And we've got lots of fun things to talk about this week. Cool comics, some Black Cat news, all sorts of fun things. But I guess like every week, we like to start with Comic Shop News. Comic Shop News. Talking about things going on in the industry.
The world of the interwebs.
So that's actually kind of a good question. What is going on in the industry?
I have something.
Yes.
So Disneyland, I think, had they released their mural of Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther.
Awesome.
I think it's like Downtown Disney. Someone will correct me, but it's awesome, and I just saw it and just completely teared up, and very, very classy. Very classy what they did to pay tribute to our Black Panther. So,
a reverse image this week. There you go, Michael. Yes, that is very classy. I appreciate that they've embraced that. He deserves that, and the character, his portrayal, the whole thing, and can totally stand the test of time and be there in Disneyland forever. So that's really great.
Yeah.
That is classy.
Still not going to be going to Disneyland anytime soon.
No, nobody's going to Disneyland anytime soon. But
well,
you can get there. You can still go to downtown.
Right, that's right.
You can visit downtown and see the cool image. So that's fun.
Correct the window.
Like to remind everybody, this is an interactive program, so feel free to throw your questions, comments, and queries out there. Let's talk about this week's new books. Let's talk about what you're reading, what you're looking forward to reading, what you might have read last week, what might be rolling out next week. We're here for you to talk all things comics. Trying to think of some other industry sorts of things. Didn't see much rolling out of that. At least comic news from any of the big guns. They're talking about some shipment delays and whatever, but delays. So maybe we'll just get right to this week's comics.
I think Wonder Woman comes out this week.
The new movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how
or where.
But I think, yeah, that's kind of
cool. That
is
big news. I would like to dig up one of these drive-thrus that's popping, or drive-ins that's popping up. There's a lot of that going around. And
yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah, definitely don't want to be the last one to see Wonder Woman.
No, she's awesome.
Though, yeah, I kept seeing like Empire Strikes Back is back in the theaters. I was like, how's that happen? Not at the Great Mall of Rock and Milpitas. It's not coming back.
No.
But yeah, that would be certainly big news. I guess while you're on that topic, let me just open it up to the masses. I'm just going to throw it out there and keep talking, but you can all respond to this or whatever. Is it really a Snyder cut if you're given $70 million to shoot more scenes? If you're remaking the movie, it's not a cut.
Are you serious? Is that what's happening?
Yes. He's
re-editing.
Yes, he was re-editing. Now he's got the cast in costume and he's got a budget and yes. So, like I say, it's not a Snyder cut. I bet if you gave Joss Whedon $70 million, he'd probably make the movie better too. Just throwing that out there. So, I don't know. Like I say, I was okay with like, hey, I got robbed. I want to show you my version of the movie.
He got robbed. His daughter died.
Well, but he got robbed in the way that they sort of bumped him from the movie and brought in somebody else.
His daughter died. That's like legit.
For sure. And like I say, I thought it was, this is not my vision, my version of the movie. I want to show my vision of the movie.
I'd be thankful that Joss came in and saved the day, but he got a lot of flack.
He got a lot. Well, that's kind of my thing, is they're saying he ruined the movie, but it's taking $70 million and reshoots to fix it. So
Zach's quite capable of ruining his own movies.
Well, like I say, I was just going to put it out there that when you get a $70 million budget, it's not a recut. So that's a good point. That's my bit for comic shop news and industry news, I guess. I like to stir up the pot, so I'm sure there's some Snyder fans out there who will come back at me.
I gotta turn on the AC. I'm dying in here.
Marvelous. Then I'll start with new books, and I'm going to work a little bit in reverse. I'm not going to start with my book of the week. I'm going to start with a couple of things that are fun, and that is facsimiles and dollar books. Facsimiles and dollar books. I think I'm too far over here. Okay. Why am I showing you reprints? Comic books. See, I'm too far. Here I am. Comic books are fun to read. And I know these days there's a big spec market, and there's, people flipping stuff, and it's all about grade and keys and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not here to complain about any of that. Kind of the opposite. I'm here to take a minute and do a PSA to those folks. And while you're buying high grade keys, and while you're looking for those awesome books, pick up some facsimiles of some all-time great keys. And remind yourself of what makes them key, why people want high-grade ones in the first place. If you're somebody like me and you just love comics to read them, you already know that the facsimiles are fun. You know that these dollar books are fun. But if you're one of those folks who doesn't read a lot of their books, and like I say, I'm not passing any kind of judgment. Everybody buys comics for different reasons. But while you're doing all that, while anybody is doing all that, drop a buck and pick up the reprint of The Time Rogue Joined the X-Men. This is the story that picks up right after the all-time great Avengers Annual number 10, her first appearance. This is when she comes to Charles for help with her split personality. And it's only a buck. This is one of the all-time great issues of X-Men, and it's only a buck. And they do all kinds of these. Marvel does them sort of like their variant covers. They have themes for each and every month. They're only $1. So like I say, there's a reason why any kind of comic fan wants to pick up a True Believer. If it's 2020 and maybe you're a little strapped for cash or this or that, a buck gets you an all-time great read. And like I say, if you're one of those folks that is more collector than fan, pick up one of these for just a buck and understand why this book is worth so much money in its original form. And facsimiles work very much the same way. This is the facsimile for Tales of Suspense number 39, the very first appearance of Iron Man. Everybody, anywhere, wants a copy of the first appearance of Iron Man. Even if you're a hardcore DC fan, if you've only watched movies, come on, that's the first appearance of Iron Man. That's super awesome. And the facsimiles have the original ads, all that kind of thing, and they're modern comic cover price. So for $3.99, you get the first appearance of Iron Man. So like I say, if you're a casual fan, you want to pick them up because this is an all-time great book. This book costs $5,000. In a super trashed condition of this book will cost you $5,000. So drop $4, get yourself a brand new copy. I think these programs are really neat. DC does it too, but they don't have any out this week, so I don't have any to show you. So I'm showing you the Marvel ones. True Believers is what the Marvel ones are called. And facsimile edition of whatever it is what these guys are called. Be on the lookout for them. You can go to the site, search True Believers. We've got all kinds of these on the site. If you buy a couple of trades, you're a buck short on that free shipping. Grab a True Believer. Like I say, there's 100 reasons why you want to buy a comic for $1. And those are really, really fun. And a couple of great ones, a couple of my all-time favorite issues.
We were having a hard time keeping them in stock.
Yes, I reordered them. I reordered the Star Wars ones. They do them from all the eras. So you can buy 60s comics, 70s comics, 80s comics, 90s comics, modern comics, all for just $1. Or each for just $1, I guess I should say.
Yeah, Michael, one of the fun things about these are they keep all the original ads. That's been really fun.
It is really fun. And don't
3D specs and
don't we all want to call that phone number or send $1 to that address just to see what would happen. I want my sea monkeys. It'd be awesome if they sent you a bag of dust. Like they used to be sea monkeys, but that was 1974. And now it's just, they weren't real sea monkeys to begin with.
They were little dudes.
They were crawfish.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now they are dust.
Anywho, yeah, like I say, the original ads, the original letters pages, and a lot of that, particularly, frankly, with the Marvel books, because you can get the Stan soapbox and all that kind of stuff. So that's my first pitch of the week, is for reprints, because reprints are awesome.
And Marco, I don't know why some comments aren't showing up here, so that's why I'm looking over here at the other phone. Marco mentioned that he heard Henry Cavill isn't reshooting the scenes. So how are they going to do that?
But yeah, I know Gal Gadot is shooting stuff. I know Batfleck is shooting stuff, which
Nice.
I personally, that's another.
He was good.
I'll go out
He's
on
good.
a limb and to get some points back with those DC people, or maybe not. I liked Batfleck. I thought he was one of the better parts of that movie. I was a little sad when he was like, "I'm not going to do this anymore."
I just want to go to work of selling seeds.
Selling Grit magazine. They always had ads for Sell Grit. But anyway, like I say, I liked Affleck, and I was glad to see him back in the suit. Another mini tangent. I think Batman should be older. I think it should be, he and Superman were the original guys. I think, you should show Bruce with a little back pain, with a kink in his shoulder.
Some scars.
With some scars.
Broken bones.
So, yeah, like I say, I liked his version
some grit,
of Batman.
some gray. See? Some gray.
That's right. Comes with being the world's greatest detective. So what have you got? What's your one of your books of the week?
Well, I'll dive right into the death metal one shot this week. So
I love speed metal.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's a cool concept, if you like metal, which
Slayer.
Who doesn't like metal? So this one's a great one if you are a Flash fan. So all the greats, I can't say anything without spoiling it, but all the greats are in here. They all team up together. You laugh, you cry, you hug, you fight. It's all good. It's family. What I found interesting about this whole run is it seems, especially after reading this one, it seems like Snyder has taken all of the biggest, most complicated things in the DCU and put them all in this book. Speed Force, complicated, hard to get your head around. Multiverses, Grant Morrison, complicated, hard to get your head around. Doomsday Clock stuff with Jeff Johns, Dr. Manhattan in this universe. Complicated, hard to get your head around. All of that comes together in the series Dark Knight Death Metal. So it's a little head scratcher. It's hard to keep on top of it, but if you just kind of ignore it and just go through it and read it, it's a fun read. It's great to see all these guys team up. The art's amazing. And who doesn't like a badass Wonder Woman?
That's the truth.
And even more badass Wonder Woman.
And I will say that it has been time-tested and true that if you're a Flash fan, you cannot have enough Flashes crammed into one book.
How many Flashes can you have?
If Flash events have taught us anything, it's that Flash fans want 97, at least 97 different Flashes.
Well, then you throw in multiverses, and then the amounts are limitless.
More and more Flashes.
How many Flashes does it take to change the light bulb?
One. Just Barry, but he brings everybody else along with him because that's what's up. I do enjoy just kind of going along for the ride. There's some fun in that.
I don't like having to work for my books though. I'm lazy. I want it to be easy.
There's that
interesting, but easy.
I don't like I said, I'll go along for the ride and just sort of let things happen. But when I get to the end, that's when it all needs to congeal. You know what I mean? Yeah. When you get to the end of the book and you're just sort of left with all of this, if your brain still hasn't put it all together by the end of the book, that can be a problem.
Oh, and I forgot zombies. I forgot kind of the Black Ring stuff from Green Lanterns. That's all kind of in there too. It's just. Is there anything that's not in there?
That's what I'd like to see. Marvel did a little bit their last version of Secret Wars. They took some of their famous events and had their events versus each other. Like it was Age of Ultron versus this and that.
That's cray-cray.
And it was nuts, but it was really fun. And I'd kind of like to see them do that with the DC multiverse. I'd like to see, the Deceased gang coming in and and the video game one, all that different stuff. Because they've got lots of great universes, and why not have them all intertwined? That would be cool. Okay, while she's taking care of actual business, we'll pause for a little Q&A. Everybody, again, what you reading, what you're looking forward to reading, what you like in these days. Throw those titles out there. We can talk about more than just the books we're talking about. Is it my turn, or do you want to pick something else?
Well, since the guy asked, we have to showcase this awesome thing.
Oh, is that what the phone call was about?
Well, kind of. Not really. Look at that beautiful work of awesome. I know it's kind of glary. Sorry.
Is there anything cooler than The
come on.
Mandalorian right now?
We're almost sold out. We just got a couple more, but just look at that work of beauty and awesomeness. So that's new this week.
Get to black-cat-comics.com right now and buy one of the last two. Seriously, because we've been selling like 2 a day, so those 2 will be gone by the end of the show.
2 left.
And like I say, The Mandalorian, until WandaVision starts, Mandalorian is like my all-time favorite show ever.
Yeah, go for it.
So it's awesome to have toys. Okay.
What else you got?
So on to the books that aren't reprints. Boy, I almost don't even know where to start. But I'll start with this guy. This is the big Marvel book of the month, since since you just talked about the big DC book of the week. X of Swords, creation number 1. Let me very quickly say all kinds of things about this book. Number 1, if you are currently reading all of the X books or any of the X books, don't pass this up, because this is part 1 of all this X of Swords stuff. Pretty soon, every X book you look at is going to have this blue thing on the top that says X of Swords. It's going to say part 4, part 7, part 11. And you're going to be like, well, but I already missed part 1. And like I say, if you're just sticking with your regular book, as I always encourage you to do, X-Force, X-Men, New Mutants, whatever have you, is at some point going to be an X of Swords book. So even if you don't care, pick up this one and make sure you don't care before they start getting away from you and you have to settle for reprints, something like that. I'm loving the X Renaissance right now. As I always say, there's all kinds of different books, different creative teams, different characters in every book. But there is an X book out there for you. Some of them have a bit of a horror thing. Some of them have a bit of a sci-fi thing. Some of them have a bit just action adventure sort of thing. Some of them are straight up X books, so they're like interpersonal, almost like a romance book with little action and sci-fi thrown in there. So if you haven't been listening to me for a year or 2 years, or anyone else on the internet for the last year, pick up this guy. This is your jump-in point to all the X stuff. If you are ever an X fan, you're going to love this. If you don't know anything about the X-Men, you're probably really going to like this. Why do I go on about it? Okay. The 2 things that have always made X-Men cool and different from all the other comics and team books and everything out there are 2 of the things I just mentioned. It is, number 1, a science fiction action adventure. It's about genetics and about the future, and it's about all those kind of things. So it is steeped in science fiction action adventure, but it is first and foremost a very personal story. X-Men always have. It always boils down to thoughts and emotions and interpersonal relationships and all that kind of stuff.
Stanley's wheelhouse.
Stan's wheelhouse, and where the bad guys think they're good guys, the good guys wonder if they're really the good guys. On and on and on and on. And what makes it especially good time to be an X fan is they're doing things like this, where you get text. Where you have to read, but it's all part of the stuff. It's in story, it's out of story, it's a little bit of everything. It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it makes you feel, it makes you think.
Speaking of Jeff Johns, he does that a lot.
Just can't say enough about Hickman, what he's put together with all this X stuff. I love a good event. Marvel loves good events. So like I say, if you're an X fan and you're holding out, don't hold out on this one. Read this one and decide whether or not you want to keep going. If you're not an X fan, pick up this one and it will probably suck you in. There's Apocalypse right there.
Is it 12 chapters or 20 chapters? I forget.
I think there's 22. This is 22, part 1 of 22.
And they cross all different titles.
And they will cross through, unlike what I say about most events, this is frankly the kind of thing people don't like about events, because it's going to cross into every X book and have one-shots. And these 22 parts will include all your core titles plus some one-shots like this one. This is Creation, and they're going to have other ones based on tarot cards and things.
So a lot of guys, yeah, I do like that. What a lot of guys have been doing on their subscription list has been putting, every chapter, so like all 22 chapters, because it's hard to like pick and choose like which title is going to have this chapter.
Right.
So in the miscellaneous section, you just click on X of Swords and just write all chapters.
Because if you're only,
and then we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. If you're only reading X-Force, you're only going to get 4 parts of the story. If you're only reading New Mutants, you're only going to get 4 parts of the story. If you're reading 2 or 3 X-Men books, you're only getting part of the story. So yeah, on your list, you want to have all X of Swords. And then, like I say, I thought it was off to a really great start. Like we're always saying, great stories, great art. Let me show you a little bit of that art.
I love that we have back-to-back Marcos over here.
Super cool.
Marco Baron and Marco Souza. What up, Mark? Mark High.
So yeah, like I say, can't say enough about X stuff. Great stories, great art.
Marco,
fun time to be an X fan.
Marco Baron wants your take on the new WandaVision trailer.
We don't have time in the remaining 40 minutes for me to discuss how excited I am about WandaVision. I loved the trailer. I did one of those YouTube deep dive clips on all the things that you missed, all the Easter eggs in the trailer. For example, that bottle of wine that is pouring, it's supposed to be reminiscent of Bewitched, a classic old show, but the label is in French, and in French it translates to House of M. And if you're any kind of Scarlet Witch fan, you know that the House of M is a big, big deal. So just that little tidbit just makes you okay. So what's my take? I am a huge fan of the Vision and Scarlet Witch. Everybody knows I'm a big Avengers fan. They're 2 of the most classic Avengers there are. They did a great job with them in the movies. And now here comes the show. On the surface, I'm loving it because if you read House of M, if you know anything about the Scarlet Witch, she's got serious psychoses. She's a sweet and wonderful woman with a destroyed mind, and she's got a huge heart and a destroyed mind. And so, and it looks like this show's going to really get into that. It's going to get into, what happens. Excuse me, let me back up half a step. The original miniseries of the Vision and Scarlet Witch was about the 2 of them retiring and moving to the suburbs. They didn't want to be superheroes. They wanted to just be a regular couple living in the suburbs. But a witch who's married a robot can't live in the suburbs. World famous Avengers who are mutants and synthezoids can't live among regular people. And that was the theme of the original series, was that try as they might, they're not regular people and they can't pretend to be regular people. And I think they're going to use that as the theme of the show. I think they're going to use Tom King's Vision book as a layer of the show. And then, like I say, and I think they're going to eventually build to House of M by the time the whole thing's over. Because, and this isn't a spoiler too much because it's as much in my brain as it is in 40-year-old comics. The way this works is that Wanda creates her own world. That's how her power works, is her power manifests the improbable, and she thinks of things and those things happen. But what happens when things she creates are uncreated? What happens when she realizes that the things that she creates are only in her mind? And so anyway, there you go. That's my 20-minute spiel on a 2-minute trailer.
Isn't that true with all of us, though? Aren't we all in the Matrix?
Well, yeah. What always fascinated me about the 2 characters, and particularly about the genius Roy Thomas who put them together, is that they are each completely unique and alone. Wanda is a person who's not a person. She's a mutant who's not a mutant. She's a witch who's not a witch. The Vision is a person who's not a person. He's a robot who's not a robot. He's a hero who's not a hero. He was built by Ultron. And so each of these characters are horribly alone. And so they match perfectly. And they got away from that in the comics years and years ago. But like I say, as a kid, I was just fascinated by the Vision and the Scarlet Witch, and I'm just ecstatic that all the noobs and rubes will know about them too. When I was ranting like this to my sister, she's like, "Oh, you mean the Olsen girl character?" So now even my sister knows who the Scarlet Witch is. All the world now knows who the Vision and Scarlet Witch is. That makes me really happy.
I'm going to totally embarrass you and put you on the spot.
Okay.
Now you have to share the story of reading about her for the first time.
Well, that wasn't the first time. It was her origin for the first time. Okay, so I'll dive even deeper, and then we'll answer a couple of these questions. Avengers number 187. 187 is where the Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch go back to Wundagore Mountain to explore their past. And she is possessed by Chthon, and all this great stuff happens. It's one of the best Avengers comics of all time, because Wanda goes evil. Quicksilver has to go get the Avengers and bring them for help. All this kind of stuff. It's a great, great book. Well, fast forward just a couple of years later, and in Avengers 234, we have discovered that none of that was true. We have discovered that they're the children of Magneto and all these other things. And so Avengers 234 showed you the true origin of Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. And I bought that comic, and I took that comic home, and my grandma had made a blueberry cheesecake, and this big, beautiful blueberry cheesecake. 7th grade. You're 12, 13. So I said, "Grandma, how much can I have?" And she said, "Well, have as much as you want." So I started eating cheesecake, and I started reading Avengers 234. And when I got to the end of that Avengers 234, I had gotten to the end of that entire blueberry cheesecake. And my family still gives me all kinds of crap about it.
Good story.
It's that is the power of comics right there. That story sucked me in.
And
22 and the power of cheesecake. The power of my grandma's cheesecake. It was so delicious. The 22 pages later, I had eaten the whole darn thing. So again, I could go on and on and on and explain and talk about what I hope is in the show, what I think is in the show. But from the trailer and from the nice people on the internet who look into Easter eggs for you, it seems like a lot of the things that I'm hoping to see are going to be part of it anyway. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Matt? And then Marco asked a couple questions. Do you think the show will be an avenue to introduce X-Men to the MCU, almost like reverse House of M? And instead of no more mutants, it will be like, here, have some more mutants. Have some mutants.
Possibly, yeah. I think they're going to go with, well, first of all, to answer your question, yes. They've already indicated that they're going to use this show to bring in X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Ooh.
And so this is going to open all that up.
All the Sony stuff.
All the Sony stuff. Because that and the next Doctor Strange thing, which will also, I'm getting ahead of myself.
So many things.
So yes, but I don't think they're going to get too into like the No More Mutants aspect of House of M so much as using that book did a great job of explaining how the Scarlet Witch's powers work. Was very exemplary of the kinds of things she can do. So I think it will be more kind of on the basis of showing you that Wanda is capable of recreating reality, more so than getting into the finer points of mutants or not mutants.
Hi, Lucy. Yes.
So yes, that's my spiel of all that. Very excited about that.
That was a good tangent side road that we went on, but it was a good one. So is it my turn?
Yes.
So I picked up this guy this week by Boom Studios, Unkindness of Ravens. It's like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, more PG-17 than PG-13. The art actually looks quite a lot like the Sabrina book. Why can't I hold this properly? There you go. There you go.
You mean?
So what?
It's going to show you the Sabrina book.
Oh yeah. No, more like the Chilling Tales, Sabrina.
Ah.
Yeah. Not as dark as that, but not as general public audience as the regular Sabrina book either. So somewhere in the middle. And so this new girl, new town, enters a new school, and she looks just like a girl who went missing the week before. And coincidentally enough, the school gives her the missing girl's locker. And there's some witchy stuff that happens. There's some clicky stuff that happens, and we're going to hopefully find out who's behind all the mystery and how this new girl in town fits in with the story. So it's fun, good times, which is, up my alley. So it's good.
Boom, has a lot of really solid stuff. I talk a lot about their licensed property stuff in the Whedonverse books because that's a lot of what I read. But it seems like they're I don't know if it's creator owned or what you call, I don't know, non-franchise, non-superhero genre stuff, I guess. But they always launch really strong. People always know they're coming. They sell well through the first few issues.
Yeah.
They're really building a base. So
I liked it.
It's a good time to check out some of their number ones and whatnot.
Yes. What else you got? Should I
Does
keep
that
going?
no? Well, either way.
No, you keep going. Go.
Okay, I'm gonna
come on, look at those.
go
You gotta show
on
those.
to a bit of a theme that
so
I'll be
pretty.
talking about over the next few weeks,
So
I imagine.
Pretty. Alex Ross.
You hear me say it all the time, but the last couple of weeks he's been doing these timeless covers, they call them, because that's what Alex Ross is, and that's what a lot of incarnations of Marvel characters are.
Perfection.
This is Immortal She-Hulk #1. This is, of course, the B cover, the Alex Ross timeless cover. I'm a huge She-Hulk fan. I got the first appearance of She-Hulk in one of those old school bagged 3-packs that you got back in the day.
Yes.
7-Eleven and what a really fun comic that was. Enough so that I kept reading it. She takes on Iron Man a couple issues later. It was a really, really fun book. Everybody knows, of course, the John Byrne run. She joined the Fantastic Four when the Thing was off at Secret Wars. She's a mainstay of the Marvel Universe and has become a very, very popular character. Speaking of the Disney Plus stuff, we'll be seeing She-Hulk in the Disney Plus. So you should, yeah, she's getting a Disney Plus show. They already cast it.
Live action?
Yep. They got some wrestler gal they're going to paint green.
What?
So
not the gal from Mandalorian.
No, though she would have been good.
Awesome.
So you probably want this book anyway. If you don't, like I say about a lot of things, Alex Ross covers are worth the $3.99, $4.99. This is just a one-shot. If you've been following Immortal Hulk, you want to read this. If you love She-Hulk, if you just love comics, pick it up for the cover because that's awesome. This guy is Fantastic Four Antithesis #2. Yes, Michael, the She-Hulk is a one-shot.
There's a little delay.
So this is the Fantastic Four Antithesis #2. 100 reasons to talk about this book. First and foremost, this is your B cover that has that amazing Alex Ross thing. I mean, it's just so realistic. That's what the Silver Surfer really looks like just before Galactus eats your planet.
So he's going to come out of the page.
Like living liquid silver. It's just
Mercury.
Awesome. And Fantastic Four Antithesis is written by Mark Waid, one of my all-time favorite writers. Talk a little bit more about him later. And Neil Adams, one of my man Marcus's all-time favorite artists, world famous for Batman and all kinds of things. He's never done Fantastic Four, so it's fun seeing him do that.
He's world famous for a lot of things.
He's famous for a lot of things. Enjoying the title. I love a cool flashback Fantastic Four story, but again, it's worth, what's this, $3.99, $4.99. It's worth $4.99 for that Alex Ross cover. There's a few of these rolling out every week. These are the 2 Alex Ross timeless covers for this week. There have already been
Cap,
3 other ones.
Iron Man.
Cap,
Hulk.
Iron Man, and Immortal Hulk, and Giant Size X-Men Storm.
So good.
So we're up to 6. There will be all kinds of them. Again, go to the subscription thing on black-cat-comics.com. Put, all Alex Ross timeless covers. you don't need to care what book it is or whether you're following that title or whatever. You just want those covers.
I would like to make a comment.
Yes.
And this is counterintuitive because I'm a retailer, but I've noticed, or not counterintuitive, I shouldn't be talking about this because I'm a retailer. The prices have been going up. They've been sneaking their way up, where $3.99 was kind of like the new standard. Now $4.99 seems to be the new standard. So I was looking at the books coming out next week. I mean, a lot of them are annuals, a little bit bigger, but like all of DC's books next week are like $5.99.
Yeah.
With a couple of $6.99s in there.
You know, here on this show, it's about the fans and it's about the readers and it's about hanging out and talking. So I'll add a couple of things to that.
Am I the only one that noticed?
Yes, you're right. That the average prices are going up, and it used to be, like you say, the standard for the last few years has been $2.99, and then the $2.99 and $3.99 were kind of 50-50. Then $3.99 kind of, the $2.99 sort of fell away. Like Spawn is $2.99, but there aren't a whole lot of mainstream $2.99 books anymore.
Kids books, maybe.
And so, for about 5 minutes, $3.99 was the standard, and then they'd pepper you with $4.99 books from time to time. But now, like you say, more and more of the books are kind of $4.99, and I grant you, they're giving you more pages, they're giving you more art, they're giving you some great covers, some cardstock, some foilies. The production is there, but comics are supposed to be affordable. Comics are supposed to be inexpensive. One thing I've always said, going all the way back, and one reason I talk about the 70s model, they wanted you to buy all of them, and some you were going to like and some you weren't. And at 30 cents, 50 cents, $1, that was the thing.
Hi, Julie.
Thank you, Julie. Hello to Alabama. And you're less likely to try new titles. You're less likely to pick up the event book. You're less likely. That's why people say no annuals, no this, no that, because it's $5 pop, $6 a pop. It just adds up too fast.
Yeah.
So it's important that publishers keep it not just affordable, but perceptively cheap. Comics are supposed to seem inexpensive, like I say, so that you're willing to try another one, you're willing to pick up something else. Now, that being said, and then I'll shut up. The one other thing, sometimes I'm ringing up people, and it happens this week when I'm doing the Wednesday thing, and I'm like, wow, really? It's that much? And I go back and I look, and that was only like 8 comics. Why is it so much? And that's just how that is, and that's the thing. That being said, like I say, the production value is there. And I'll also say that comics have always been the price of a gallon of gas, and gas is like $3.50 to $4 a gallon. Comics are $3.99. You get $1 comics when they're reprints and they don't have to pay the people for the story and the art anymore. It is not realistic to think. People always tell me all the time, how come comics aren't $1? How come comics aren't $1.99? If they can make this one for $1, how come they can't make my regular one for $1? Well, because they pay people. They pay writers and they pay artists and they pay editors and they pay rent and they pay taxes and it's actual people who do hard work to put these things together. So you're not going to get them cheap. Like $1, $2. But I do feel that, like I say, you should get them for about the price of a gallon of gas. They should be $4, like a gallon of gas is.
I think with COVID, shipping and printing costs have gone up.
Also true.
And I think that's part of it, that they're passing some of that to us. But I also think part of it is DC's, AT&T needing to show a profit. The DC ones, Marvel's been kind of steady, but I've been seeing DC creeping up really quick since Lunar's been their new distributor. Yeah.
Another thing I'll say to that, again, the classic model is to make them cheap so people buy more. One thing that comics is going for, and as a retailer and as a fan, I support this, is producing fewer titles. If comics have to be this price point, understand that your fan can't buy 20 of them a week, and produce fewer titles and keep the quality high to make the stuff worth it.
Well, we know how much it costs to do this because we're doing one ourselves. It's a lot of money.
Well, yeah, like I say, I understand what it takes to go into these things. So, they are going to cost something. And again, I think the answer to that is to produce fewer titles at a higher quality and higher production value. And I totally support that.
Can I just show this? Because I just passed on it. So this is coming out next week. So make sure you guys are ready for this. The Joker War Zone. Look at that.
Ooh.
Look at how creepy that is. Love it. So that's coming out next Wednesday.
I know folks are digging the Joker War stuff.
Yes.
So a little bit of that to talk about this week, but not too much. It's more of next week's topic.
Well, I'm excited about what's coming next week.
Yeah, for sure. Three Jokers 2
stuff.
is next week. That Joker War book's next week. Good stuff. So before we get on to the next one, folks, throw them out there. What are you reading this week? What are you looking forward to reading?
What's top of the stack?
What's at the top of your stack these days?
Marco, Spawn's coming next week too.
Yeah.
Get a new Spawn, your favorite.
Your turn? My turn?
I don't know whose turn it is. I've lost track.
Well, I was supposed to mention a third book. I had a segue when I was doing my thing. There was Immortal She-Hulk, and there was Silver Surfer. And what do these two have in common? They've both fought this guy.
Nice. Nice segue.
And in fact, I think they've both been possessed by this guy and had their powers stolen by this guy. What has this guy not done to somebody in the Marvel Universe? This is one of the greatest characters in all of comics, one of the greatest villains in all of fiction. Love me some Dr. Doom. Love me the Man in the Iron Mask. As I mentioned earlier, one of the great things about Stan and one of the great things about Marvel is that the bad guy is always the hero of his own story. And here is Dr. Doom, the hero of his own story.
Ozymandias.
Yes.
Ra's al Ghul.
Magneto. Pretty much, at least all the Marvel villains other than the Red Skull are the hero of their own story. And I only exclude the Red Skull because he knows he's evil. He knows he's a scumbag and he loves it.
He's a Nazi.
I think Loki might fall into that category too. But anyway, Dr. Doom is an excellent book. It's been on one of those slight hiatuses for a while. I myself thought it was over. But number 7 starts the second arc. I don't think there's a trade yet for 1 through 6, but we do have all 6 issues in stock. If you're an FF fan, if you're any kind of just regular comic fan, because it's got, as we say, great stories, great art, and come on, Victor Von Doom in his own book. So awesome. So the deal is he has been conspired against and has been run out of Latveria. And
kicked out of his own homeland?
Kicked out of his own homeland. And he knows it wasn't his people because his people love him. So he knows it has to be an enemy. He knows Richards isn't smart enough. Nice. So it has to be somebody else. So what do you do when you're Dr. Doom? You call up your buddy Kang, Master of Time, because you know your buddy Kang knows who did it, because Kang knows everything because he's from the future. And so him and Kang and a few other buddies sort of team up to get Doom his castle back. And boy, has this been a fun read. Just been enjoying this title to no end. Again, you know I'm an FF fan. I say it all the time. Super stoked. I love when villains get titles, and I love when they don't try to turn them into good guys. It's just a Doom book about Doom. Like I say, we got 6 quite some time ago. You don't have to know or care about what's already gone on. Just pick up this week's number 7. Enjoy some great stories and great art about Dr. Doom.
They need to do a Dr. Doom's movie just like the Joker. He's got that level of depth.
Yes, the number one mistake, and people talk about the FF movies, and there's a lot to talk about those FF movies. I like the movies, but the big mistake they make is getting away from Doom's origin. Yeah. People feel that it's dated, or people feel that it's cliche, or people feel that it's whatever.
It's good.
And the reverse is true. Like I say, he's one of the best characters in fiction, and you're right. He definitely deserves his own movie or his own Disney Plus show. That would be awesome.
Should we talk about what's coming up?
what's coming up. Yes. Yeah, we're kind of getting down on
Getting
time.
down to the wire. So lots of good stuff coming out next week. Three Jokers, Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, #1 comes next week. Lots of Joker War, all kinds of fun stuff next week. And midnight, October 1st.
Right around the corner.
Black Cat Chronicles launches our Kickstarter, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm super excited. We've got 2 full pages of art to show off, and so that'll be available on October 1st. You can look at all the info, all the details at black-cat-publishing.com. You can look at the videos, you can look at how you can participate for the midnight release, and how you can help us spread the word with that. So very much appreciate your support. Very excited for our launch, and can't wait to see what happens on the 1st and the 2nd after the first 24 hours.
Yep, just a few days away. Like you said, midnight, October 1st, because all Black Cat stuff happens in October, right?
And it ends on Halloween
and
at midnight.
And it ends on midnight on Halloween. So again, here's your chance to get in on the ground floor of our publishing event. Support your favorite comic shop. Get your hands on a new cool horror comic.
So awesome.
Like she said, go to black-cat-publishing.com or find our Facebook page. You can check out the video and the link to the Kickstarter preview and all that good stuff. Like I said, we're very excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Our goal is to get 100 people on there as followers before the launch. And so we're at 33 right now. So we're almost there. So if you could help us share and spread the word, that would be fabulous.
You folks willing to tune in and watch us live, our core base. So yes, we really appreciate you guys, appreciate your support. And
very excited.
Hoping you'll get over to that Kickstarter and share and talk it up with your social media fans, your quarantine.
Nice. Quarantine.
All that good stuff.
I love it. We need T-shirts.
Yes. Because Black Cat Chronicles is going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, we're really excited about that.
I'm gonna get up, set my alarm at midnight, hit the go live button, go back to sleep.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're going to hit the go live button, and then you're going to watch all the stuff. You're not going to be able to go back to sleep.
That's true.
It's going to be too much of a flurry of activity.
That's right.
So, yeah, like I said, excited about that. You've probably heard this pitch. You'll hear this pitch again. But again, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, find us on Kickstarter and check out all that good stuff. Find us on Facebook, black-cat-publishing.com.
And we're doing some fun Halloween stuff this month.
Are we talking about Halloween already?
Yeah. So